Welcome to African Love Archives. This channel is dedicated to preserving African stories. Stories of love, history, resilience, and identity. Stories that shaped who we are and continue to guide who we are becoming. Thank you for taking this moment to reflect with us. Today, we revisit one of the most difficult and defining chapters in African history. We reflect on Rwanda's journey from the early 1990s through the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994 and into the long and complex process of rebuilding that continues today. This is not a story of fiction. It is a story of memory, loss, responsibility, and resilience. We tell this story with respect, not to reopen wounds, but to honor truth and understanding. In the early 1990s, Rwanda was a nation under growing strain. Political instability, social division, and historical manipulation of identity had created an environment of fear and uncertainty. By 1992, violence had already begun to appear in different parts of the country. Displacement, targeted attacks, and insecurity were becoming more frequent. Trust between neighbors weakened, and daily life became increasingly fragile. What unfolded in 1994 did not happen overnight. It was the result of years of division, propaganda, and the systematic dehumanization of fellow citizens. In April 1994, Rwanda descended into one of the darkest chapters in modern human history. The genocide against the Tutsi began. For approximately 100 days, mass violence spread across the country. More than 1 million people were killed. Men, women, children, and the elderly were targeted solely because of their identity. Homes turned into places of terror. Churches and schools, once symbols of safety, became sites of unimaginable loss. Families were wiped out. Communities were destroyed. The genocide was organized and deliberate. Media outlets were used to incite hatred. Fear was weaponized. Ordinary people were encouraged to see their neighbors as enemies. As the killings continued, the international community largely failed to act. Rwanda was left isolated in its suffering. When the genocide ended in July 1994, the scale of devastation was overwhelming. The country had no functioning institutions capable of responding to the crisis. The economy had collapsed. Millions were displaced internally or forced into exile. Survivors emerged into a landscape filled with silence, trauma, and loss. Many had lost entire families. Children were left without parents. Communities were forced to coexist with the memory of violence. The question Rwanda faced was not only how to rebuild infrastructure, but how to rebuild trust, humanity, and social cohesion. The first priority was restoring security. Without safety, no healing was possible. Gradually, stability returned, allowing people to begin the process of survival rather than fear. Justice became one of the most complex challenges. Conventional courts were overwhelmed by the number of genocide-related cases. In response, Rwanda revived a traditional system of community-based justice known as gacaca. Through gacaca, communities confronted the truth of what had happened. Perpetrators were encouraged to confess. Victims were given space to speak. Accountability, though imperfect, became possible. This process was painful. It forced communities to face the reality of their past, but it also allowed Rwanda to address crimes on a scale that formal systems could not have managed alone. At the same time, Rwanda undertook a deliberate effort to redefine national identity. Ethnic labels that had fueled division were removed from public life. The emphasis shifted toward unity and shared citizenship. Reconciliation was framed not as forgetting, but as remembering responsibly. Education became central to rebuilding the nation. Schools reopened. Curricula were revised to emphasize history, critical thinking, and national cohesion. A new generation began learning the importance of unity and the consequences of division. Healthcare systems were rebuilt from near collapse. Community-based health insurance expanded access to medical services. Public health initiatives improved life expectancy and reduced preventable diseases. Women played a critical role in Rwanda's recovery. After the genocide, women made up the majority of the population. Their participation in rebuilding families, communities, and institutions became essential. Today, Rwanda has one of the highest representations of women in parliament in the world. This reflects a conscious decision to include voices that had long been marginalized. Economically, Rwanda focused on long-term planning and stability. Investment in agriculture, infrastructure, technology, and tourism helped diversify the economy. Development was pursued with discipline and accountability. Kigali transformed from a city marked by trauma into one recognized for cleanliness, safety, and organization. But Rwanda's progress is not measured only in buildings and roads. It is reflected in governance, public service, and collective responsibility. Community work initiatives and local leadership structures reinforced shared ownership of development. Yet, Rwanda did not attempt to move forward by erasing its past. Community work initiatives and local leadership structures reinforced shared ownership of development. Yet, Rwanda did not attempt to move forward by erasing its past. Reconciliation remains an ongoing process. Healing does not follow a fixed timeline. Trauma does not disappear with progress. But the commitment to unity continues to shape national life. Today, Rwanda stands as a country deeply aware of its history and deliberate about its future. It is not a story of perfection. It is a story of intention. From the early 1990s through 1994, Rwanda experienced profound division and loss. From 1994 to today, it has pursued recovery, stability, and dignity. This is not a story of forgetting. It is a story of remembrance without revenge, of rebuilding with honesty, of resilience shaped by truth. This is Rwanda's journey, a nation that endured immense tragedy and chose to rise. The past cannot be changed, but the future can be protected. Thank you for taking the time to listen and reflect with us. We appreciate everyone who chose to be part of this moment and to engage with this important history. If this story has helped you understand, remember, or reflect, please support our work by liking this video, sharing your thoughts in the comments, and subscribing to African Love Archives. Your support allows us to continue preserving and sharing meaningful African stories with respect and honesty. Thank you for being here, and thank you for listening.